All right, so let's dive into something pretty heavy today. Diddy.
Yeah.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Right.
Those accusations against him
Mm.
and what this whole thing, what it might tell us about
Yeah.
Hollywood and these open secrets,
Yeah, it's
Like, what's really going on?
it felt like, when this news first broke,
Yeah.
it felt like everyone was talking about it,
Yeah.
but also like
Right.
it was something that had been whispered about
Yeah.
for years prior.
Totally.
And these are serious, serious allegations.
Yeah.
We're talking sex trafficking, racketeering,
Right.
the potential consequences here. I mean, this is
Huge.
huge. This extends far beyond just
Way bigger than Diddy.
one celebrity's career. Much bigger.
Okay, so let's break it down. We've got
Okay.
these excerpts, and there's some disturbing stuff in here.
Yeah.
It's being compared to Jeffrey Epstein,
Right.
which is, that's
Dark.
very dark, to say the least. Right.
Yeah.
But I think beyond the headlines, what's really interesting here is this idea that, like, everybody knew.
Right.
Everybody knew about Diddy's alleged behavior.
Mm.
So if that's true,
Yeah.
what does that tell us about
That's the question.
power, Hollywood, the whole thing?
It really is the question.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, like on the legal side, because we throw these terms around.
It's serious. We should define them.
We should define them. Sex trafficking refers to basically exploiting someone for commercial sex,
Oh.
often involving force or coercion, and then racketeering. That implies that there's like a structured enterprise.
Oh, wow.
A criminal enterprise. So, using these terms in connection with Diddy already, that's major.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder how was this able to go on potentially for years, right? And
Right.
And the source material mentions Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-partner.
Right.
Sadly passed away a few years back. But she was writing a tell-all book.
Wow.
And this book supposedly exposed a lot of this behavior. It's
heartbreaking to think about
really sad.
what she might gone through.
Yeah.
And the pressure to stay silent.
Right.
And I think this is where we get into this conversation about
Yes.
power dynamics.
Power dynamics, exactly.
Because if you've got someone like Diddy
As big as Diddy.
at the center of this, you have to imagine that there were a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially, maybe younger artists
Sure.
who depend on him for their careers,
Of course. Yeah.
who felt like they couldn't come forward.
Right. It's like
Okay.
that catch-22, you speak out, you risk your livelihood, you stay silent, you protect yourself maybe.
All righty. Right.
But then you're also complicit in what's going on.
Exactly. And it creates this culture of fear,
Yeah,
especially in Hollywood, for people who are just starting out.
totally.
It's like, it's
It's a lot.
it's a lot. And you add on to that,
Yeah.
legal threats, NBAs,
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
this whole PR machine that's designed to silence dissent. It creates this situation where even if people wanted to come forward,
Yeah.
the risks just feel too high.
Right. Right. So it's like all this is going on. There's whispers. There's these allegations.
Mhm.
And then it's like there are these moments where things are almost like hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
Like Usher deleted thousands of tweets
Okay.
around the time all this news broke
Right.
and claimed he was hacked. Come on.
Which, let's be real, that's pretty convenient.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got Ashton Kutcher,
What about him?
who very clearly clams up when Diddy's name comes up.
No way, really?
Yeah. He's hinting at all these stories about these parties,
What?
but he won't elaborate.
Wow.
He won't say anything.
He shuts down.
He shuts down.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, that's
everyone is tiptoeing around something they don't want to acknowledge.
It's like that. What's that?
What's that? The
The Emperor's New Clothes.
Emperor's New Clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with
Yeah.
way higher stakes.
Yeah.
Life-altering consequences.
With much higher stakes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, and this is what's crazy to me, Diddy himself
Right.
has talked about these parties
Yeah.
openly.
Yeah.
And the way he describes them, it's not exactly, innocent fun.
What do you mean?
So there's this one clip, and he's talking about locking women in at
Yeah.
these parties,
Go-
cranking up the heat, no AC. It's all out there in his own words.
Wow. And that's what makes this whole like unspoken truth thing so disturbing.
Yeah.
It's not like this was just
Right. It wasn't just rumors.
like baseless rumors. There are concrete details,
Yeah.
public statements that hinted at something
That's a calm.
being really wrong.
Yeah.
But it still took this long for, any real scrutiny to happen. It makes you wonder, like, why now?
It does. And I think a big part of that could be, what everyone's calling the most explosive part of this, the tapes.
Yeah.
Our source material makes a direct comparison
Right.
to the Epstein case.
Right.
Direct comparison. Even saying it's in the source material, they got the videotapes, they're all going to be on the tapes.
Ooh.
Just reading that gives me chills.
It's impossible to ignore. That parallel,
Mm.
especially given what we're already talking about.
It's true.
Powerful men, these allegations of misconduct with young people,
Oh.
this system that seems to have looked the other way
For too long, yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if these tapes are real
Yeah.
and they have evidence of criminal activity,
Oh, wow.
this changes everything. We could be talking about like a complete upheaval,
Yeah.
like
Earthquake.
an earthquake of the power structure of Hollywood as we know it.
It really does feel like that scene in a movie, where they like finally find the hidden room and it's just like stacks of evidence.
Yeah.
But this isn't a movie.
No.
These are real lives.
Real people.
Potentially affected by what's on these tapes. And they even say they got the receipts. It's a lot.
It's heavy. It is heavy stuff.
It is.
And it just brings up so many questions.
Like what?
Well, like who is recording these tapes?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Where are they?
Yeah. Where are they now? What's it going to take to like actually bring them to light?
Right.
And then the bigger question is,
It's scary.
it is scary. Who else is on those tapes?
Oh gosh.
Because if this was an open secret,
Right.
we could be talking about a lot of people.
Yeah, and not just people at the parties, like enablers, co-conspirators.
Right.
This could be huge. I mean, if even a fraction of this is true, we're talking about like a whole underbelly of Hollywood that like no one wants to talk about. Are there other Diddies out there?
That's the question, right?
Are there other industries where this is happening?
We have to ask that.
Yeah.
We have to ask that. Because this
It's bigger than Hollywood, I think.
is bigger than Hollywood. This is bigger than Diddy. This is about
It's about power.
power dynamics.
Yeah.
It's about systems
Yeah.
that allow this to go on. It's about the silence that protects abusers.
I mean, we've seen it time and time again.
Time and time again, yeah.
And it's not just Hollywood, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's workplaces, it's schools, it's
home.
it's families.
Yeah.
It's those people who have less power, who feel trapped,
Right.
who feel like they can't say anything.
They don't feel like they have a choice.
Right, exactly.
And then that silence just
Yeah.
protects the abusers.
It just keeps happening.
It allows it to continue. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be brave enough to break it.
Right, and you think about Kim Porter, and it's just like, how many other people out there
Right.
knew, who had firsthand knowledge,
Yeah.
but felt powerless, felt like they couldn't say anything.
Totally. It's a lot.
It is a lot to process.
It makes you think about all the weight of those open secrets,
Right.
those things that like everyone seems to know, but no one wants to actually.
You don't say it out loud.
You don't say it. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, it feels like this whole thing, this case with Diddy, with everything that's coming out, it feels like it could be like a turning point.
I hope so. I really hope so. Because if we want to see real change,
Yeah.
people need to feel like that they can come forward. It's got to be safe. Right?
It's got to be safe, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to be able to challenge these systems, these power structures, no matter how big they seem. And as a society, like, we have to listen. We have to actually believe people when they speak up.
Yeah, and we have to stop being part of the problem, you
Yeah.
know? It's like we can't just stand by
Like a bystander.
and watch this stuff happen.
Yeah.
Right. But it takes courage to do that. It does. So like what would you say to someone who's struggling with that fear? Who's like, I don't know if I should say something.
I mean, first of all, you're not alone. Like, whatever you experienced, whatever you saw, it matters.
It matters, yeah.
Your voice deserves to be heard. It's
Yeah.
completely normal to be afraid.
Oh, of course.
Especially if you're going up against these powerful people.
Mhm.
But there's help out there. There are organizations, whose whole mission is to support survivors.
Yes.
To get their stories out there.
Yeah.
To get justice.
And you mentioned earlier, staying informed.
Right.
So how do we do that? How do we stay informed about this stuff, but in a way that's, actually helpful?
Yeah. Well, for one, like, you got to go deeper than the headlines,
The headlines are crazy.
They're insane.
Yeah.
But you got to understand how this stuff works. You know, the abuse, the tactics that people use to keep people quiet.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like it's hard to see it, you know.
Right, but trust your gut. Like if something feels off,
Yeah.
it probably is.
It probably is. And we have to, like, as a society, we have to shift away from that, like, that's just how it is kind of thinking.
Ugh. Yeah. No, we're done with that. That's over.
This is not okay, and we're not accepting it. And that means
Yeah.
supporting the people and organizations that are out there fighting for change and creating a world where people can come forward and not feel like they're
Retaliated against.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beyond that, there are things that, you know, maybe they seem small,
Yeah.
but we can all do them. Like listen to survivors.
Just listen.
Listen to their stories, believe them. And call out those jokes, those dismissive comments that keep this whole cycle going.
Right. It's about, like, chipping away at it, right?
Exactly. It's wow. Okay. This has been a lot.
It has this whole deep dive. It's eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, this is a side of Hollywood we don't talk about enough, but it's clearly something we need to deal with.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes way beyond Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is about power. This is about accountability. It's about the systems that protect abusers.
It's a lot to process. So, as we wrap up here, a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah.
If you were in a position to say something, knowing what we know, knowing how risky that can be,
Right.
what would it take for you to come forward? What would make you feel safe? What support would you need?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves because we never know when we might be in that situation.
That's real.
And the more we make it okay to talk about these things,
Yeah.
the safer it's going to be for everybody.
That's a powerful thought. That's a powerful thought. Well, until next time, everybody, stay curious, stay informed,
And stay loud.
stay loud.
Yeah.